Just a body. Now let us ask another question, a fundamental question that is harder to understand than to answer. The question is quite simple and does not need complex philosophical or scientific deliberations to be understood. The question is, can you show me yourself? Imagine you are Mr. X or Ms. Y. That is, imagine that you consider yourself to be Mr. X or Ms. Y. Can you show me this Mr. X or Ms. Y? I want to see this Mr. X or Ms. Y. What is your reaction to this demand? You might consider it to be a ridiculous question or think the answer is quite simple. I am here. Come and see. I am standing right here. Unfortunately, this answer could not be further from the truth. What you try to show me, that is, what is in front of me, is not you. What I see before me is not Mr. X. It is only his body. What is shown to me is just an object, a body, a pile of flesh, bone, and fat. What I am looking at has nothing to do with your you. That thing before me is merely a body. What does it have to do with yourself or your personality? What does this pile of flesh and bones have to do with your identity? I agree that the body manifests actions and sounds that are the result of your thoughts and mental activity. This, however, is not that. Imagine that a person is standing before you. The thing you consider to be the person is actually a collection of limbs and organs with specific functions. In that thing, each limb and organ receives a certain type of data from its surroundings, transfers that to the brain, which in turn processes it and presents it to us in an unknown space. The point is that these organs, ears, eyes, nose, hands, and feet, are not the same as yourself or your I. Hands and feet are merely some flesh and bones, nothing more. Moreover, what I see in front of me is not even your hands and feet, but just hands and feet. It is true that those hands and feet are under your control, but being under your control does not add anything more to them. In the final analysis, these are hands and feet that are attached to the brain through some nerve cells. It does not matter how you want to define the body. It does not make any difference what my definition of your I is. It does not matter whether or not this body contains an I. The fact is that my eyes do not see a self in this corpse. It just sees a body. Is that clear? No matter what thought system you believe in or deny, the result is the same. You might be a materialist or believe in metaphysics or the existence of life after death. It does not matter if you believe that this body has or does not have an astral body or soul related to it. What you see, or rather what your eyes see, is a hand, a foot, a pile of flesh and bones, a body. In short, objects. Your eyes do not see a self in this corpse. They just see a body. The logic of the matter is quite simple, but it is not easy to make the mind accept it. No matter what the reasons are behind this resistance, it seems that I cannot see the body as just a body without attaching the phantom of a self to it. I should be able to see the body as it really is, without labels, identities, or characteristics ascribed to it, free from the person who is created by my mind. Let's try a simple exercise. Stand in front of a mirror and look at it. What do you see? Given our discussion thus far, it should be clear to you that you only see a body. You do not see a self, but just a body, a pile of flesh and bones. Pay attention. What you see in the mirror is different from what you conceive as yourself or identity. The mirror does not show you the I who receives brain-processed data that is located or floating in the mental space. What you see in the mirror is a corpse that moves and sometimes makes sounds. Please note that we do not want to talk about the essence of personal identity here. What matters at this point is that whether or not your body carries an identity, your eyes cannot see it. They only see a body. I should emphasize that what your eyes see is not even the body of a person, but just a body, a mass of flesh and bones. Can you see the difference? You might agree in theory with what has been discussed here, but in practice, when you are looking at a body, you may still see a person. You might say that you even see the person of that body before seeing the body of that person. It seems the problem is still there. Let us go deeper and examine more details. Imaginary illusionists. At this point, I suppose that we have logically accepted that our eyes merely see a body rather than a person. But as expected, in practice and under the force of habit, we still feel the presence of a person before us, rather than a mere body. The question is, where is that person whose presence we feel right after observing that body? Where does he or she come from? How is this sense of presence created and materialized? How is it that as soon as I look at that body, a person, a specific person, comes to life in my mind? I see my father when I see my father's body. Where on earth is this my father? Where in this universe? Where is the person who seems to be attached to that body? What is the essence and reality of this identity, which seems to be an inseparable part of that body, dominating it and making it invisible? Bearing in mind our earlier discussions, it is clear that, for example, my friend Mr. X has his own identity or self, which resides in his mind. My friend, I mean his self, is a receiver of data, which, like a vague mass of clouds, flows in his mental space, whatever definition that space may have. But when I talk about him, I am not referring to that mental creature. I am referring to his body. That is, my natural sense is used to working that way. Habitually, when we talk about a person, we have the image of the physical creature in mind. Furthermore, we do not have any direct access to the person residing in that individual's mind. So what is the source of such a conception? What makes that person someone I know and whose actual presence I feel? What is the essence of this specific person whose presence I feel whenever I look at that particular body? As with all our previous questions, the answer to this one is simple, but accepting and acknowledging it is hard. The answer is that the person I associate with that specific body exists only in my mind. It has been processed and created in my mind alone. My father is nowhere to be found except in my mind. It is my creation. It is an entity processed and defined internally in the seclusion of my mind. Our previous discussions should make the logic behind this issue clear. My father and I create each other. I live with a father who is my own creation, and he lives with a son he has created himself. The father I feel in my mind has nothing to do with the myself he feels in his mind. These two people are two separate mental entities with nothing in common. They are two different things that have derived from different sources. They are the results of two different processes executed by two different processors. My specific acquaintance, who exists in my mind, has been created by my mind and is exclusively the result of my mental activity. This is a truth that can radically change humanity's view of the world and the self. Let us elaborate the matter more thoroughly. Imagine that a person, Mr. X, is in contact with 10 different people, friends, family, and colleagues. All of these people have a unique image of Mr. X individually created in their minds. These 10 mental identities or persons are different from one another, not just in details, but, more importantly, in essence. It is noteworthy to realize that these 10 entities are separate from each other. Their existence and being are not connected or even related. They have nothing in common with the person's conception of himself either, because each image is the result of the work of a different processor. The reason I keep repeating and emphasizing the distinctness of these mental images is to penetrate the mind's habit of assuming that all these creations are the same, which everyone accepts without question. Each and every one of these 10 people who see Mr. X, or actually his body, see only their own created person, mistakenly thinking that they are looking at the actual self of that body. Each one thinks that the others see or conceive the same person as he or she does, an illusion that has no counterpart in reality. None of these people is able to grasp the sense that the others have of that person, the sense that merely exists in their own mind. Now let us return to our earlier question. Can you show me yourself? Or let me twist the question a bit. Can you show yourself even to yourself? Hopefully, you are not thinking of using a mirror. It can't help you. As you know, what you see in the mirror is not you, but some flesh and bones. And you know what flesh and bones are. If you do not, go to a butcher's shop and touch, squeeze, and examine some meats and bones closely. Meat, flesh, bones, and skin are exactly those things that you are looking at in the butcher shop. There is nothing more to them than what meets the eyes. This is not only true for you, but for all the people you know. What you consider to be a person and his or her identity in your mind is not the creation of your visual system and has nothing to do with it. Your eyes can only see the body of your mother, father, sister, brother, friends, acquaintances, and colleagues. The rest is the result of your creative mind. Even more interestingly, what you consider to be you, what you conceive as yourself, has nothing to do with what others see of you. They just see a pile of moving flesh and bones. What they see when they look at you and what you see in the mirror is only a body, flesh and fat covering some pieces of bone.